I'm working on an automobile which doesn't use petrol, electricity or solar but can just use the atmosphere and be moving around.
Tiny actions driven by passion and skills for a great vision.
We train them in automobile mechanics, dealing with engines of cars, motorcycles, tricycles, generators, whatever thing you can name that uses fuel to produce power.
In the strive to acquire a practical and job-oriented training, gender stereotypes are broken.
I had the passion of joining this field when I was still really little. When they came and they were fixing roads within my society, and I was like, if these roads like this will actually be fixed by these people, why is it that as a lady you cannot really do this? My main interest was even in driving like these big compactors. That's what I was really interested in doing because I only see men doing it.
I've actually learned how to draw a plan, production of drawing board and building.
This is a significant shift away from Cameroon's heavy reliance on an educational system that yearningly falls short of the job market realities.
There is still this mindset that is someone that has failed in the formal sector that has to engage in the vocational training.
They are working to be job creators so they can employ others and not just job seekers.
Cameroon now, when you close from the university, you are wandering around like someone that did not go to school. When I leave from school, I can still be doing this. You can make this vocation, you can get more money from it.
But with vocational training in the country facing widespread challenges, can this be a magic solution to tackle galloping unemployment? In major towns, cities and villages in Cameroon, education, from a historical standpoint, is built around acquiring theoretical knowledge and little about solving practical and daily problems. Such a system has generated millions of graduates scrambling for limited government-paid jobs, and the outcome is mounting structural unemployment.
Education shouldn't be for the sake of it. Education is to solve our problems. And that is where we are heading to. You shouldn't go to school and become a problem. You should go to school and solve a societal problem. Vocational training is very important for our educational system and for our nation as a whole. Because vocational training trains craftsmen, technicians at the intermediary level. And those are the people who have to develop the country for us. We cannot concentrate on training people who simply have big heads without big minds. So vocational training gives us people with big minds and they do big things. And that solves a lot of problems for the country. Because we have unemployment, which is a problem worldwide, being tackled by vocational training.
When you look at the education of Canada, you look at the education in Germany, you look at the education in China and the rest of the world, even in Nigeria, which is just a close neighbor here, you realize that children go to school and they have to work. With this ideology, children are already creating jobs while going to school. So they have a mindset of entrepreneurs. They are working to be job creators so they can employ others and not just job seekers.
We want to create a system of training the children how they can install subthermal energy plants. Where you have small rivers, we can install a solar plant that can solve the immediate problem of light for that community. That is the level in which we are working now, to make the community, to make the society autonomous, rather than depending on the long solar thermal plant that has been failing us for over the years.
But the trend is changing, with emphasis being tilted to toward vocational training.
We're taking practicals on acids and base. We're using bitter leaf and limes to taste for acids and base. Precisely, we're tasting for acids in limes and tasting for base in bitter leaf using our litmus paper. You know, limes, some of us we consume, some we use it to react on our skins. We use it in producing products which we use on our skin. We cannot just react anything on our skin without knowing its pH and its acidic content.
For the soap production, we know that from theory is the reaction of an ester with sodium hydroxide and alkaline. So that's the basic equation that we use for saponification. Yes. And from that theory now, and for the soap, if you are talking about black soap, you can add other nutrients that are actually necessary for skincare. For example, we have sulfur, we have various essential oils that are essential for the body. So we'll add them into the soap and we have a good soap. This is skin glow oil, meaning when you add it to your rubbing oil and you rub on your body, your skin kind of glows.
After teaching us the chemistry in class, they take us to the workshop. So you see, it's more easier for us to put it into our brains because we already know the theory while in class. We do our measurements. Yes, and then we mix with water. Water have been measured in a ratio. Yes, then when we mix, after some time, it hardens up and we have our chalk. The chalk that we have in stores, most of them, if you drop them to the ground, they will break. But this chalk, it does not break.
Courses in food and nutrition have also been scaled up to empower these young learners with practical skills.
Each Saturday we produce a new thing. Like today we're doing pastries and we commonly call it fish pie. We add more fish and do no sugar. We don't put a lot of sugar because many people out there are diabetic and they don't need sugar in their systems. And now many people are reducing the intake of sugar in their systems because in the long run it affects us. So we use a little bit of salt because salt is really, really natural. The fish now that we add more, it is protein. All of us here are children. We need protein intake in our system to be able to grow more for repair of tissues, damaged tissues, and to look healthy as well. So that's why we reduce the carrot, even though we put carrot inside. Yes, but we increase fish. And we also include carrot in it so that what? Carrot contains vitamin A. And vitamin A is very important for children, pregnant women, and the old. The old, when our fathers and our mothers are getting old, we see them putting on glasses. Some have short-sightedness, some have long-sightedness. They'll tell you that's yellow, they mistake things a lot. So we put that carrot in it that has vitamin A to improve on their sight. And skin tone, you see some are looking very old, their skin is twisted, but we put carrot in it so that what they have good skin and they have what? Good sight. For pregnant women, the babies in their womb, they need carrots so that when they come out, you don't have, because I've seen children that when they give birth to them, at 1 year old, 2 years old, they're putting on glasses. It's not really good. My dream is to become a medical doctor, and I care about the welfare of the citizens in Cameroon and my fellow classmates, my family members, and all of you here. So I think it's passion in the sense that I want people to take things in that are good for their system. Like all this, they call it junk food. I don't want people to take more of junk food, but you should take more of healthy things that what will improve growth. Nowadays, you see the rate of people in the hospital is increasing because of the kind of things that they take. All these industries that we have out there, we don't really know what they do there. But us making this and you see it, you are convinced that no, we do it well. And also for employment, Cameroon now, when you close from the university, you are wandering around like someone that did not go to school.
We direct and they do most often, because you can only train somebody if the person is able to do. You see the person practicing the skills. That's when the training, we can say that we have trained somebody. So this one today, they did it so that we'll see that the lessons have been taught and they can also do it even back at home.
Cake is like a letter. You can express anything using a cake. We can create anything out of cakes. This beautiful cake you see here is an anniversary cake. If you look at it, we have white and we have red. Red signifies love. White is purity. White is cleanliness. White is holy. Giving someone a cake which has white and red can already tell what you're up to. Away from this cake, we also do food processing. That is food from the farm. What we do in the farm, we bring it back here in our well-equipped lab, produce it and make it ready for consumption. Most of the times, food we buy in the market, maybe they process them for too long. Something like cassava, the more it ferments, the more it's dangerous to our system. The more it stays in water, the more it's dangerous. But when now we discover that problem, we look for a solution in such a way that it will not be giving yeast cells to the world at large. Because most of the time when we get to the hospital, we keep hearing of yeast cells, that's because of the way they process the food.
There is an emphasis on information and communication technologies, with the understanding that the trainees can be relevant in today's fast advancing technological world.
The general notion is to know how to arrange things in life in order. That is the introductory part of this lesson, to make you to understand that in life there are different types of data that exist. You have the numerical types of data, you have the pictorial types, you have the texts, and those specific data types must be arranged in order to facilitate the searching purposes, the deleting purposes, and the update purposes. Because when you combine different types of data in just one container, it becomes difficult for the computer to search in that particular mixture. So this particular topic permits you to be able to isolate different types of data in different structures. A grandmother in the village, for example, based on her situation in the village, there is some minimum kind of organization even in her kitchen. For example, you will not mix maybe beans and corn maybe in one bag, for example. It teaches you the notion of division of items in particular sequences to facilitate the manner in which you will get them.
I was reducing the quantity of azuela in the pond because azuela is a feed supplement that we use to replace or to reduce the quantity of formulated feed that we give to fishes. So when you plant them like this, because they are actually planted like this, so when you plant them like that, they keep multiplying. So you have to reduce them in order for others to multiply, for it to multiply and be fresh. Because if you don't reduce it, they will go so big and they will not be fresh enough for the fishes to consume. So we reduce them to create space for expansion. This is a formulated feed. Formulated feed is made of different kind of ingredients. We have bone meal, and sometimes the ingredients are not locally available. So you have to import them, and when you import them, all this from elsewhere. So when you bring them here, they become so expensive to formulate feed like this. And this feed, you see, this is their pallet They had to make them to be round like that. All that process is expensive. For one bag of feed, you can go to close to 15,000 or 20,000 or more, depending on the season, because it fluctuates. To keep on feeding them with expensive feed like this, it will be very difficult. But Azuela can break down the cost from about 30 to 40%.
Modern agricultural techniques for greater productivity have also been instituted.
When you take the seed and plant, it will take a longer time. So crop breeders adapt a means to graft a plant. They bring a scion, a small part of a desirable plant with the characteristics. It can be by the size, the quality, taste. Then you attach it to the rootstock. Another one, what we call rootstock, is a plant that you have just potted in the polythene paper to grow. And then you attach it to grow. Some people face difficulties to climb on very tall trees. They can fall there. But when you see grafted plants, they are just like shrubs, but they are bearing.
Grafting is a method of planting that when we take another plant, we can join with another plant so that it can grow and reduce the bearing process. That it can take shorter time to bear. You cannot take pear and graft with any other fruit like orange or guava. When you plant a pear tree, for example, it can take at least 3 years before it starts bearing. But if it's a grafted plant, at least 1 year and a few months you start bearing. That can help you to sell and bring income.
This is still largely the traditional approach of agriculture, but reflections on introducing the concept of smart agriculture are advancing.
The advantage of smart agriculture, you can sit in your house and you discover many things in your farm that are going wrong in your farm. Drone will come back and tell you there's a problem with a plant. If a plant needs water, the drone will indicate to you even while sitting in your parlor. The drone will tell you need water. This plant needs water, this one needs to be sprayed, it needs chemical, it needs this and it needs that. So it makes the work very easy because people are running away from agriculture today that farmers are very dirty people, but I tell you today farmers are very, very clean people. We are very, very clean people. We do farming now with zest, and without us there's no food. So we are proud of who we are as farmers. So I'm proud of myself to be a farmer. From the traditional one, as we know, things that can change here is our output here. Within a shorter period of time, even the time duration that we take to till our farms. Using our machines now, we take a period of 30 minutes, you can till a hectare with a machine, rather than using that crook tools, because for crook tools you take longer duration, like days before you till even a hectare with crook tools. But using our machines now, it makes things move smoothly. Even the output, because once your drone identify your troubles, the problems you have in the farm, and you go and solve it, that is how it boosts the output.
Now we are looking at technology in the farm. We are looking at greenhouses. We are looking at use of drones to apply fertilizer and herbicide and other like. We are looking at automated farming, what we call the Internet of Things. In a way that somebody sits just in your setting a computer or server somewhere that monitors your crop and is able to tell you that the crop is hungry, it needs water, it needs fertilizer, it needs this, and it happens automatically in the farm.
This is a solar energy driven approach to tackle the problem of limited electricity many localities in the country are facing today.
These students are trained to be able to do energy generation. That is, if there is a waterfall in your community, they can actually harness the power of the waterfall to generate electricity. These students are capable of harnessing the power of the sun using solar panels to generate electricity. They are also able to harness other sources of energy like animal waste for the generation of electricity, but it goes beyond just generation. They are also being drilled in the distribution of this energy and in their transmission. So it starts from the production to where it gets to the final user.
Just with sun, you have few connections, and there those people already have electricity. And this electricity, I would say it's not really harmful to the people, because they don't need to do with all these other technical stuffs where you see maybe with small connection, there's a spark here and there, but with that, I don't think there's really great harm to the people.
We have carried out many research, and in most towns, energy is cut off. Workers cannot really penetrate in this to do repairs. Now, how does the people in these communities survive? Energy has to be in their hands, and we can't think of any other best way than using renewable energy.
This system is one of its kind in that it's a water pump actually, which doesn't need electricity to function. It works with rivers and streams. And what it does is it takes 90% of the water that goes into it to send 10% to whatever height you want. It just uses part of the water to build pressure in a tank, and uses that same pressure to pump a portion of it to a higher elevation. So it's designed for agriculture and designed for specifically streams. It does not work with well.
A lot of people think that when you talk about renewable energy, you are just talking about solar installations. It has to do with high energy environmental energy. And so this manual water pump here is coming in to help us to pump water from either shallow wells or deep wells in rural areas where they are not able to have electricity, to pump water maybe into their tanks or into their farms, or to carry water into their buckets, just like we demonstrated here.
The government of Cameroon agrees that solutions to unemployment and poverty lie with promoting vocational training.
The government of Cameroon is not sleeping, because from the Rural Artisanal Training Center, SARSMs, that constituted the Ministry of Employment and Vocational Training, the government has moved to trade training centers, reforming those centers, because those centers in those days were just found in the villages, in the rural areas, to train children who were not able to continue the normal regular schooling, to have skills to perform in the society anyhow. But right now, as we speak, only in the northwest region, the government is already reforming 4 SARSMs into trade training centers, ultra-modern centers that are well structured, well equipped, and the trainers well trained.
When you take a child in a technical school, many of them come out as plumbers already. Some come out as civil engineering technicians. Some come out as refrigeration repairers. So we have people who come out already doing something. Even though in the past it served not a very good purpose for us, because when children started making money early, they did not see any reason to further their education. But today it has changed. And even in the Ministry of Secondary Education today, we see in the Northwest there is a shift from general education to technical education. So many more of our schools are seeing more children in the technical schools than in the general schools, meaning that there is a global understanding at the level of the region with the parents and stakeholders.
Yet vocational training still faces numerous financial and technical challenges.
Our training has the challenge of practice, and so workshops are not very well equipped. We don't have a lot of industries around where children can gain experience, so we need equipment. Of course, we know the budgetary constraints in the nation. Being a third world country, we should understand that budget is not as easy as that. and there are too many demands. So that is a problem that the ministry is handling.
If you look at the training equipment, you still see that there's still a big gap, which is something we believe the government can do. Also in terms of infrastructure, the numbers are getting big and the space that we are using is quite small. And we believe it's something that the government can also come in to do that.
Today, we destroy to develop, but we want to bring in a conception where we should develop without destroying. For example, when you come to Upstation Bamenda, you will see very beautiful houses. They will not take into consideration on how those houses will serve the population in 20, 30 years to come. When you go to Europe, Europe has not been destroyed for close to a couple of years because it was well planned ahead of time. How should we manage the overgrown or the excess population that will still live in the Northwest on the same land, on the same site? That is what we put in the mind of the children. We want to bring up architects that should take into consideration in their town planning all these irregularities that they are witnessing, then coming in to solve as a problem and proposing to the powers that be that this is the solution we have and this is what we can do. Those are the expertise we are transferring to the children.
Analysts argue that greater technical and financial support to government and private initiatives in the domain of vocational training could help drift Cameroon's educational system towards the acquisition of relevant skills for self-employment.